night, and did everyone make it in here okay?
Yeah, we made it in just fine throughout the day. Certainly, we are excited to be here. Want to thank certainly the Cotton Bowl chairman. Carl Ice was there last night, got a chance to fire up the troops, talk to the team. He awarded me with I don't know if it's customary, but a 10-gallon hat, which I readily accepted as I went over and got my cowboy boots. So I feel as a Texan today. We're excited. Rick Baker has been with us, the president and CEO. I want to thank him. But I know our guys feel very comfortable. We're in a great hotel, the Gaylord, so just first-class accommodations. And again, we're excited about getting into a routine now. Now that we've gotten settled in, it's really for us now to get into a game week mode and kind of flip it into, our preparation.
Brian, it's kind of interesting that both these teams are undefeated, both made quarterback changes during the course of the season. Talk about what went into your move to go to Ian and all the factors. You obviously unbeaten at the time, but what factored into it, and what kind of development have you seen from him since he took over that job?
Yeah, so, I've spoke on this a number of times. We felt like, offense was coming to us, but there was a lot of work that needed to be done for it to come to us in terms of we had to play a complete game, both offensively, defensively, and special teams. And, even though we had won our first 3 games, I think in one of the games we played defensively over 90 snaps. And so there was a lot of work going into it. So as we evaluated moving forward, we felt like Ian would give us the best shot at winning each and every week that we played, and doing it with more efficiency. So it was a matter of looking at it from much more of a overall perspective of how it would affect our entire team, not just the offense. Because Brandon, won a lot of games as a starter. So it wasn't about just winning games on offense, but it was for the entire football team. And then I think where Ian's grown is just game situations, settling into the game, making game adjustments, getting a feel for the game, all the things that you would expect somebody that was a first-year starter that he needed. And so he's gained that game-like experience where you can make some adjustments and he picks up on it and is able to execute. I think that's where we've seen the growth.
On the right.
Coach, I know sometimes for these bowl games, some people don't show up because of academic reasons or injuries and such. Do you think everyone will be available for this weekend's game?
Yeah, this is not a bowl game. I mean, this is a bowl. It's sponsored by the Cotton Bowl, but this is a playoff game. And so all the players that are here are eligible to play. And so we took everybody. So we don't have anybody that's not eligible to play. We do have one injury update. Dylan Gibbons had a fracture in his foot during practice, and he had surgery, so he will not play. He wasn't going to play anyway. He was being redshirted. But, yeah, we have no issues relative to academics. We don't have anybody that is not playing because of their NFL aspirations, or any injuries that may have occurred during, the last couple of practices.
And how would you say Myron has, progressed over the last few weeks?
Been very impressed. I think he's capable of playing and playing well. Now, sometimes you get a player back and maybe he can give you a few snaps here. I think he can play, and I think he can play well for us.
In the center.
Can you talk a little bit about Drew's journey throughout his time from safety to linebacker and what you've seen from him this year and how he's grown while you've been coach?
Yeah, so he's actually made 2 position changes. He started at safety, tore his ACL, had to fight through that. Then we moved him to rover. He tore his other ACL, fought through that. and we moved him to linebacker. So his journey has been amazing in terms of injuries, overcoming injuries, just an amazing, just off the field, on the field, what he's been able to do. He's now married. He's got a child on the way. He's just he's everything that you want in this business relative to coaching. You know, just a mentor to our players, a great leader, somebody that overcame adversity through his career here, and a great representative of our university as a great student. So, you know, that's the mold, right? That you'd want. You know, you get a guy like Drew Tranquil, and sometimes it's almost where he had to really grow is that he wasn't believable in a sense, almost. You know, here's a 4.0, clearly, you know, student, maybe not quite a 4.0, but that kind of student, and almost guys couldn't identify with him because he was this guy that they just couldn't live up to. I mean, but this year he just became so much more of a mentor to our other players that, you know, somebody asked the question, when did you know that you were going to have a special team? I knew we were going to have a special team when Drew Tranquil was able to reach everybody in our locker room. Because when you have a guy like that that can reach every player, he's going to impact them all.
When did that transition occur? Is there a certain moment that you think showed him not being able to necessarily relate, because you said he has such an unbelievable story to really connecting with his teammates?
Yeah. I think when we did some leadership training and we talked about traits of, you know, one of the traits that he had, that he self-discovery was that he had a hard time relating to some people based upon what his strengths were. You know, he's very spiritual. He's driven, and sometimes that didn't exactly connect with people. And so when he saw that those were some of his traits, he went to work on those. And so through January, February, in our off season, he went to work on those things, and you could see how that was kind of taking shape.
In the front.
Brian, kind of the same vein that I asked Sam, in terms of what you've seen from that Clemson defensive line on film, and also how your offensive line has come together after losing 2 All-Americans from last year.
Yeah, I mean, they are who they are. I mean, there's no denying that this is one of the top, if not the best defensive lines that I can remember facing. I mean, maybe Alabama in 12. You know, there's some similarities to the 17 North Carolina State front, but this is as good as it gets. Versatility, explosiveness, edge presence. We have to be – the ball's got to come out quickly. You can't stand back there and hold it. You've got to move the launch point. You have to find a way to keep them off balance in the run game. You're not going to run it down their throat. You're not going to bludgeon them up front, but you have to keep them off balance. So it will be a challenge. But I think what's happened this year with this offensive line is that they work well together. They now know each other. They know how to work with each other, and they play off each other pretty good.
Second row.
Will Vandervoort with the Clemson Insider. Coach, what's your relationship with Coach Sweeney, and how far do you guys go back? Do you go back to 2015, that first game, or is it even further?
Before 15, we had met a couple of times prior to that, but we spent some time in the off season 15 at different events, and we play in the Peach Bowl Classic golf tournament together. So we've been able to spend some more time outside of football. You know, I think we just enjoy our company in the sense that we can talk about other things than football. We talk about our foundations and what we do in our foundations, and you know, can keep it lighthearted, you know, from that perspective. So it doesn't have to be all about football. I think we kind of like it that way.
Last question in the front.
This may be the last question, but I don't know how aware you were of during the the final weeks of the CFP debate. You were clearly in the playoff, but there were people going, you don't have to play a championship game. some of the teams on your schedule were enjoying down years, that sort of thing. How, you don't normally associate Notre Dame and respect in the same thing, but is there a little bit of a respect factor at all for you and your team coming into this game?
No, I really don't think so. I think that, there was a little bit of, I think every team other than maybe, Alabama and quite frankly, Clemson, who's been here 4 times, everybody's going to get picked at a little bit. But, we think our schedule, has always been set up to play the very best. And, we won every game we played. So, I think it's natural that there's always going to be a little bit of chatter, but I don't think we ever felt that there was disrespect. We got to go out and win, in these big games, certainly, because we're still being compared to what happened in 2012, fair or unfair. We need to set, a new kind of parameter there. But no, I don't think our guys, they've heard enough of it. They're ready to play. But I don't think we lost any sleep over it.
Thank you, Coach. We appreciate you spending time with us. We'll let you head to practice. We'll see you later in the week.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.